They told us goodbye. They told us it was over. On November 1st, NASA released a definitive statement confirming that the interstellar object 3I Atlas had passed perihelion, swung around the Sun, and was accelerating out of the solar system on a hyperbolic trajectory. They showed us the diagrams. They showed us the math. They said the visitor was moving at 140,000 miles per hour, destined to fade into the darkness of deep space, never to return. It was a comforting story. It meant the danger was over. It meant we could go back to our normal lives, secure in the knowledge that we are alone. But there is a problem with that story. The math doesn't add up. And the object isn't leaving. For the last 48 hours, Duplacis Ordinariis, the astronomical community has been in a state of quiet panic. Amateur astronomers in Australia, South Africa, and Chile, who currently possess the best viewing angle of the ecliptic plane, have been reporting a positional drift that defies the official ephemeris data. In simple terms, the object isn't where NASA says it is. It is lagging behind. It is drifting off course. In orbital mechanics, there are only two ways an object deviates from its predicted path. One, it hits something, a cloud of gas, an asteroid, a gravity pocket. But space is empty. There is nothing out there to hit. Two, it changes its own speed. The new data, leaked from independent observatories and corroborated by the tracking systems of the European Space Agency, shows a massive statistical anomaly. 3I Atlas has performed a braking maneuver. It didn't just slow down due to gravity, it decelerated. It shed velocity. And it did this exactly at the point of maximum gravitational tension, performing a vector change that has transitioned it from an escape trajectory into a capture orbit. It isn't leaving, ladies and gentlemen, it is parking. Let's break down why this is impossible for a natural object. When a comet swings around the Sun, it performs what is called a gravity assist, or a slingshot maneuver. It falls towards the star, gains immense speed, and then uses that momentum to fling itself back out into the galaxy. This is basic Newtonian physics. Oumuamua did it. Comet Borisov did it. Every rock in the history of the solar system has obeyed this law. But 3I Atlas broke the law. Instead of using the Sun's gravity to speed up, it used it to pivot. Think of a car driving on a highway at 100 miles an hour. If you take your foot off the gas, you slow down gradually. Friction and air resistance stop you. But in space, there is no air. There is no friction. An object in motion stays in motion. If 3I Atlas slowed down, it means a force acted upon it. The calculated delta V, the change in velocity, is approximately 3 kilometers per second. That is a massive amount of energy. To achieve that kind of braking power, a chemical rocket would need fuel tanks the size of the Empire State Building. 3I Atlas has no visible fuel tanks. But remember the anti-tail we discussed in previous dossiers? That beam of light pointing toward the Sun? We thought it was a shield. We were wrong. It was a retro rocket. It was a thruster firing against the direction of travel, fighting the momentum, forcing the object to slow down just enough to be captured by the Sun's gravity well. This was a controlled, calculated orbital insertion. Nature doesn't do insertion maneuvers. Intelligence does. So if it stopped, where is it? This is the part that should keep you awake at night. The new trajectory isn't random. It didn't just run out of gas and stop floating anywhere. It is heading for a very specific, very strategic coordinate. It is heading for Lagrange Point 2, or L2. For those who aren't orbital mechanics, let me explain L2. It is a point in space, about 1 million miles behind the Earth, directly opposite the Sun. At this specific spot, the gravity of the Earth and the Sun balance out perfectly. An object placed at L2 stays there, locked in position relative to Earth, hiding in our permanent shadow. It is the ultimate camping spot. It is dark, it is cold, and it provides a constant, uninterrupted view of the night side of Earth. But here is the coincidence that makes this terrifying. L2 is not empty. L2 is where we keep our most valuable assets. The James Webb Space Telescope is parked at L2. The Gaia Observatory is parked at L2. The Spectre RG X-ray telescope is parked at L2. We put our eyes there because it is the quietest place in the system. And now the visitor is pulling up right next to them. Is it a coincidence that an alien probe would choose the exact same parking spot as our deep space surveillance network? Or is it a hostile takeover? If you wanted to blind humanity, if you wanted to hack our data, if you wanted to study our most advanced technology up close, you would go to L2. 3i Atlas is now sitting in the dark, less than a few thousand kilometers from the James Webb Telescope. Speaking of the James Webb Space Telescope, let's look at the technical difficulties NASA reported yesterday. Did you notice the news? Probably not. It was buried. NASA announced that James Webb has suspended science operations due to a guidance sensor anomaly. They claim the telescope lost its lock on a guide star. This happens occasionally. But look at the timing. The telescope went into safe mode exactly 12 hours after 3i Atlas entered the L2 region. Did the telescope break, or was it blinded? Imagine a massive object with a high-energy electromagnetic drive pulling up next to your delicate infrared sensors. It would be like shining a spotlight into a night vision camera. It would blind the sensors instantly. Or consider the darker possibility. NASA saw the object approaching. They saw the collision course, and they turned the camera off. They cut the feed. They put the telescope to sleep so that the public wouldn't ask why the background stars were suddenly blocked by a massive metallic hull. The glitch is the cover-up. The telescope is fine. It's just seeing something we aren't allowed to see. This changes the entire psychological profile of the event. When we thought it was a flyby, we could comfort ourselves. We could say, they don't care about us. We are like ants on a highway. They just drove past. It made us feel insignificant but safe. But if they stopped, if they parked, it means we are significant. And that is much, much worse. Why would a probe travel for billions of years, cross the void between stars, and then slam on the brakes at Earth? There are 3 possibilities. Possibility 1, refueling. Maybe they don't care about us. Maybe we are just a gas station. They are using our sun to recharge their batteries, harvesting solar wind or plasma, before moving on. If this is true, we are lucky. They will ignore us, take what they need, and leave. Possibility 2, observation. They are a science mission. Just like we study bacteria in a petri dish, they are studying us. They parked at L2 to watch our lights, listen to our radio, and monitor our wars. They are documenting the rise or fall of a primitive civilization. We are the reality TV show of the galaxy. Possibility 3, preparation. This is the one military analyst's fear. In warfare, you don't send the invasion fleet first. You send a scout. The scout finds the target. It parks. It paints the target with a laser designator, and then it waits for the main force to arrive. If 3i Atlas is a beacon, then its arrival at L2 was the signal. Target acquired, holding position, send the fleet. You might think I'm speculating, but look at what the US Space Force is doing right now. Check the launch manifests. SpaceX has just received a rush order for a classified payload, mission designation USSF-67. It's a Falcon Heavy launch, scheduled for a window that opens next week. The orbit? Geosynchronous transfer. Why the rush? Why the secrecy? And look at the Starfish Prime protocols being updated. Governments around the world are suddenly testing their anti-satellite capabilities. Russia, China, the US, they are all running drills on how to shoot down objects in high orbit. They aren't preparing for war with each other. They are preparing for something else. They know it's at L2. They know it's watching, and they are terrified that it might do more than just watch. We are seeing a silent mobilization. The rhetoric is changing. We aren't hearing about cooperation anymore. We are hearing about planetary defense. The Planetary Defense Office at NASA was considered a joke 5 years ago. A small office with a tiny budget. Today, it is the most important room in the Pentagon. The scariest thing about L2 is that it is invisible to the naked eye. You can look up tonight and you won't see 3I Atlas. It is too small, too dark, and too far away. It is a ghost. But the radio telescopes can hear it. Or rather, they can hear the silence it creates. Independent radio operators are reporting interference zones in the direction of L2, strange static, data packets that look like encryption keys. The object is talking, we just don't know who it is talking to. Is it talking to Earth, hacking our internet, siphoning our data? Or is it talking to the deep dark, sending a signal back to where it came from? I have arrived. The locals are primitive. Proceed with Phase 2. We need to face the new reality. The visitor didn't leave. The narrative of the passing comet is dead. We now have a permanent guest, an artificial moon parked in our backyard, watching us from the shadows. It might stay there for a year. It might stay there for 1,000 years. We are no longer the masters of our own solar system. We share it now. NASA will continue to deny it. They will publish corrected trajectories. They will say the object faded from view, but gravity is the one thing you cannot fake. If the object is at L2, it will exert a pull. It will affect the tides, however slightly. It will affect the orbits of other satellites. The evidence will accumulate. Until then, keep your eyes open. Question the glitches. Question the maintenance windows. Because the camera wasn't turned off because it was broken. It was turned off because they didn't want you to see the ship that just parked next to it. 3I Atlas is here to stay. And the question is no longer, what is it? The question is, what does it want?